And I can tell you one thing, painting stinks. You can see I put a coat of paint on my frame, and now we're wiring. So this little wiring kit, all the lights and so forth, comes with everything. And there's your plug, and it splits it nicely into left and right sides, so that's sort of an easy indicator as to which way I'm going to have to go with this. The just as standard indicator lights is this third position here, which splits. So you've got one indicator going to one side and one going to the other side, and then of course the other one is the turning light. So I need this to go neatly through the frame as best as can be managed. I don't really want to have the wires outside of the frame if I don't need to, but I also have to make it easy to rewire, because I'm going to have to do that eventually, or somebody is. And there is exactly enough wire for me to start here where the ground wire comes to its untimely end, goes all the way down the tongue to this joint and doubles back to here. This is at the front of the trailer. Then it splits, so that goes down the right side and this goes down the left side, and then I can tap that wire right here to power the indicator. That's going to be the brown wire, and then all the way down, and then the other end, and that's where I run out nicely. So then I'm going to have to drill the frame here for the tail light exit, drill the frame again up in the front corner, and drill the frame right in the center for the wires to enter the frame, because I miter cut the exterior box. I can pass wires all the way through, and what I'm going to do to pass the wires is a bit of heavy nylon thread and a vacuum, and I'll suck the string through and then pull the wire the other direction. So if that can't be done, I'm screwed, because I don't really have an alternative. But so far that's the plan. Quick update on assembly. I've got the tongue wired, and I'm working on the body. Now, I had no idea how tough it was going to be to fish wire through using the old thread technique. So I did get my hands on, where is it? Throttle cable. And nice and dense. It's just not as good as a proper fish wire like that brand, but it certainly did the trick for the tongue. The problem is I didn't want to drill multiple holes in the frame just to thread short sections of it, so I'm trying to use the thread technique to a certain degree and then fishing where I must. I've had to drill 2 extra holes in the back of the frame, as you can see on this side, and I've gotten to this point. I've got this side wired, and that loop up in the front will disappear when I pull it back in after I sort of thread the marker light into it. But what I'm doing is pulling the wire from the front corner, which was my sort of first stop. I wish I'd put the hole somewhere else, but there you go. And pulling that all the way through the frame to this back hole. And the way to get it here is to have to pull it straight. I simply could not thread something through there. I was using thread, like this is that nylon canvas thread, and it immediately bunches up into these knots once it goes inside the pipe. I honestly don't understand that. I made this little fly on the end of it. It's a bit of the nylon rope, and this stuff just, it's incredible. I thought I was going out of my mind. I had my dad come by and assist, and we were just having the same trouble with it. It just immediately goes in and knots up, and then no matter how much string you put in, nothing comes out the other end. But the game changer when using this heavier wire was compressed air. So now I still have to do that, but I've got this string running to the back, goes through the bucket handle, and then pulls straight. That way one person can do the job of fishing, because you have to feed the wire in kind of 1 inch at a time at this end, so you don't strip the shielding off, because those drill holes are sharp. Once I get to the end, I have to get the string to come up right here. And the way I do that is putting a vacuum on here, and then I blast air in here, and then all of a sudden this string, which is pretty uncooperative, jumps out of the hole. Oh, it makes a difference. So to do this the way I'm doing it, to avoid drilling unnecessary holes in the frame, you've got to be pretty creative and resilient and patient. I think a stiff drink will help once I'm done this. I was sincerely concerned about the difference in the leaf springs, how one side would connect and then the other one wouldn't. But this is exactly the solution I had designed in my head. Pull the two ends closer to each other. I only needed to move it about, I think it was 1/4 of an inch. I thought it would move a little more easily, but then I noticed that the shackles kind of appear to be welded, which I shouldn't be surprised after 30 years of service that this thing wouldn't see some of that kind of action. But anyway, this is exactly what I had in mind. One ratchet strap to pull the spring down, the other ratchet strap to pull it to the left, and I have it lined up. The only thing I was concerned about, which I think is actually happening, is warping of the axle. So if I line it up just right, you can see there's no light getting through on the edges of the axle, but there is right in the very middle. And in the case of a dead axle with a hub, like bearing hubs, it's not crucial. It means my tire wear over time is going to be rather uneven, but I don't know if that's a serious concern. I don't really think it's a serious concern. I think this will drive straight and the suspension will do what it's intended to do, other than the suspension is way too heavy for a vehicle of this weight class. But I'll look into removing springs or leaves from the springs maybe in the future. But for right now, I just want this thing assembled so I can get my cars in the garage. The trailer kit came with these sort of crimp-on attachments, but I prefer to do my work in a nice hefty glob of solder, and then I'll paint it. I'll seal it with this stuff, liquid electrical tape, and I might even wrap some electrical tape around it when I'm done that. I don't know. I don't know how long this stuff takes to dry. I got this end redone. I had to wire brush that mounting screw because it was quite corroded. But I've got this attached sufficiently. I wish it was pointing the other way, but I'm not doing any more welding at this point. And I've checked for connectivity, so the front two lights work anyway. And let's see what we get once we get the back buttoned up. I decided not to use a piece of wood with a routed channel in it, and instead just cut the right length of wood and leave the wires exposed. Basically, it would be a lot easier to service it if for who knows what reason that was necessary. So I have this thing cut to just the perfect length that this now spins freely in its place, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. So, sweet. Next stop, skin the thing with some wood and paint it. Alright, so we're nearly done, but it's gone below zero, and all of a sudden this pin now fits rather tightly into this link. So I've got a piece of coat hanger with sandpaper taped around it. I'm just going to put that into my drill and spin that for a bit and just smooth out that opening and see if that doesn't take care of it. Alright, that's much better. That'll do. Alright, so we're going to do a time lapse, just for fun, of the trailer. I have fixed my latch link thingy, although I've moved the wood so you can't see it. I don't know why I came down to this end. I moved the wood because I don't want to get any paint on my lights. Pretty wise, huh? So, quick coat of paint on this and then flip it. And of course, I want to glue that bit of wood to the underside. So I'm going to leave a strip where there's going to be no paint. And you'll notice this stuff is nasty. Oh, that's French. There we go. That makes sense. Same skull, but anyway, poisonous. So that's why I'm wearing my Stormtrooper paint mask, because the fumes are brutal. So, let's get to it. Got her done. Problem is it's below freezing out. I don't feel like firing the bike up. So, do a practical demonstration with my bicycle. So here we go. Pull up the pin. Lowers down on the back edge there. And the two rear tires touch down. And there's a safety chain up front. It's longer than I need it to be, but it's harmless, and I've got a link on it. So, ride your bike up until you reach a certain point, just in front of the axle. Job's good.